Hello and welcome back to Crowswood Model Railway. So, not a lot has been going on with either layouts. It's mainly been planning. Mostly as I was down south to see family for a week. And last week I had a minor medical situation. However, everything's fine. I'm not dead, so it's all fine. But I think I should just get straight into it, as one of the new acquisitions, because there are new acquisitions, is in shot now, and that is the new Helian Class 33. This is a really nice smooth runner. It does take a little bit more power to get going. That's because it's on a curve slightly uphill. It's better backwards at the moment. This is one, as you can see, it's in the BR green with the late BR crest. It's got the D number, the yellow panels as opposed to the full yellow ends, and no high intensity headlamp, which really does sort of make this one a bit more distinct, as well as it being a slim Jim, so being narrower and having a different exhaust to the other two in my collection are in 00, because I now have 5 Class 33s. 1 in O, 3 in 00, 1 in British N. So they are, at this point now, the most common engine I have. I've got more models of 33 than anything else. The head code lights up, same as it does with the other two, although on my 33O that's just a blank squares. The little marker lights along the sides light up, and it can pull, and it's not got right now, but it can pull 4 Mark 1s, which is what I would typically ask, because Mark 1s are longer than Monsall, Bullied, Collet coaches, which are what I like to run a bit more. All round, it is a very, very nice engine. I don't know what it's like inside, but it's probably going to be a little bit overly complicated, as is the norm of Helian. The flywheel was really nice. I do wish it had slightly better cab detail. All of my 0033s have really quite uninspired cabs, shall we say. When you compare to the old Bachmann Class 25-3 I've got, it's no contest. That thing has a better interior, and that's probably close to 20 years old. Again, other new diesel releases, better interiors. At least it doesn't have interior cab lighting to highlight the fact that it's got a pretty iffy interior cab. Another thing which is interesting on the 33s, the Helian 0033s, is that they all have wildly different lighting intensities. Yes, this one doesn't have the high intensity headlamp thing, but its head code glow, it's hard to tell at the moment because there's the natural light and the light on in the room, so that I can get a good shot without relying on the flash and putting everything out of whack. But the head code is somewhere between the 33O and the 33.2, as are the marker lights. My 33O, which is 33063, which is now preserved at the Spa Valley, that engine is almost like it's got an old bulb in it. The 33.1 is like it's got a collapsed star in it, and it wants to burn out my retinas every time it comes towards me and I look at it. I have no idea why the lighting is so inconsistent between just different subclasses in this case, or even across the board, because Sounds Trains did a review of, I think it's a Hymec, and that has got LED bulbs which are pointing down and are barely visible from outside the engine unless you turn up the power, that's just insane to me, that the fact that it's just so inconsistent. I haven't opened up any of my 33s because they haven't needed a service. I haven't needed any lubrication yet. They're still massively lubricated because they come massively lubricated. The wheels haven't needed cleaning yet, and there's no sort of trouble with the motor, but I don't know what it's going to be like inside. But from the outside and from someone with very limited servicing experience, it looks like a nice runner. It pulls what I ask of it, and it looks like a 33 too. And it is an absolutely visually stunning little model. I do apologise that the clicking of my controller is a bit loud because the camera is on the tripod near it to try and stabilise the shots a little bit better. Although I only have short tripod, my tripods are very short, so this one's broken, but that's the taller of the two. I am going to be having a look in some charity shops for a bigger one. But back on topic, let's bring the other two acquisitions, which will be propelled up into shot by my Hatton's P-Class, which is number 178, which is one of the ones at the Bluebell Railway. It's not a lot. There's 178 right at the end. Let's try and get a bit better focus on the coach. Now this is a Hornby ex LSWR, now in Southern livery coach. I'll zoom in a little bit, hopefully it might pick out a bit better. Okay, that's a little bit better. This is a far, far, far better coach than the EFE nonsense in the cross-country set. This has metal buffers which are sprung. It has wheels that are slightly detailed. It's got the sort of the fairly plain Southern livery on it because this is, I believe, going from Walsall into Bully to sort of time frame, so pre-war or during the war potentially. It's got all the stickers on it, it's got the handrails on it, and it's a closer coupling, which is very noticeable when you've not got the corridor ends than the EFE's cross-country set couple up. Couplings are also a little bit happier as well. So I just use the standard tension locks because it's easier and they work. So, and the price on this, without any discount or anything, it was 36 quid versus over £50 per coach on offer, normally over £80 per coach RRP for the EFE cross country set. So my recommendation is if you want some of this type of coach where it's compartment, no corridor, and you want Southern ones or BR Southern Region ones, don't look at the EFE ones. They're just stupidly priced and they're not worth it. Yeah, you could change the couplings out, but I don't know how much that would rectify the close coupling, because you've got buffers which are unsprung and plastic, which could lock into each other if you run on third radius, as this coach is currently posed. It's just a matter of trying to be careful, sort of, as it were, and not having buffer lock, which you're less likely to get with these sprung buffers on these coaches. But with the standard couplings, it's not a problem. It's close. Hopefully you can see how close those are between 178 and the coach. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get, sort of just clean the track as well, which is on a dead zone. For whatever reason, I need to have a look at that. I'll try and get this in shot now as best I can, which is the limited edition. I don't know if there's any left, but these are the limited edition, at least for the first half of 2023. Bluebell Railway, Daypole. What's the word? They're built by Daypole for the Bluebell Railway in a limited edition. Commission, that's the word. Well, these are quite nice because they, as well as being local, as at Sheffield Park, this company, Turners of Lewis, did exist, did have a facility, and did do sort of dry wood and whatnot. It also has a removable wood load. Which I think is quite a nice little feature. But I've waffled on long enough about bring 178 back into shop. But I have waffled on far too long about 3 new acquisitions. And so I'm going to get into the planning and what I plan for both Crowswood and for Taihouyama, which, for those who don't know, Taihouyama is my in progress N scale layout in 1:150, which is the Japanese scale. So let's get to that. Okay, so I'm going to use 178 as a little assist so I can point out if I need to help me explain without getting in front of the camera and obscuring everyone's view. But I cannot run, ultimately there's a problem that I cannot run an engine on this loop, a train on this loop, and the goods yard at the same time. So my idea is 17 back. On this set of points, 178 is now on. Where it connects to that second radius curve, which then hooks up to the set points that the B4 that the low 4 is on, or just past, I want to put some insulating fish plates there, and then at the set of points where the B4 is next to, I want to add powered fish plates where that connects to that second radius on the other side of it, from B4 side instead of P class side. What I can then do is I will then be able to bring the B4 and one wagon onto the second radius, and I know this is a little tank engine, but I do have clearance for some coaches not all the coaches. The Lima Mark IIIs I've got aren't going to clear it. There's going to be some sort of interference. But I don't run them very often, so it's not too much of an issue. But there's going to be, before coming back with its wagon, which it may have pulled from this siding or from the siding it's on, and then moving it around, building up a train that then, in this case, I can have 178 stationed here potentially, or I can position her here at the signal on red instead of clear as it is now, to then come up. I'll then park the B4 out of the way, likely in the water tower, siding in which is the one it's on now, but more out of the way, and then flick the points with point motor, bring 178 in this situation up. We'll then go on to the second radius, and that'll be the cut of the power, because I'll either have a Model T or so for 3 lines, or I'll just put a Gauge Master combi, which will then hook on, come up. So she'll come up this line and then connect to the train and pull it away. And I can bring B4 out, which is number 87, I can bring her out and then rearrange another train potentially, or I can just generally have a bit of fun running up and down, moving stuff around, while I also have the relaxation side, where there's a train on each loop running around, pulling whatever it is I've put on for them to pull, be it a freight, a mixed, or a passenger express stopping passenger, or branch line type passenger working. And eventually in this goods yard area there's going to be at least one other engine, because I've got P-Class 1323, which is now known as 323 Bluebell, which is preserved at the Bluebell Railway, the same as 178, which will be in sort of the freight black of the Southern, so not the wartime black, the freight black, which was brought in around Maunsell, but being numbered 1323. That is late Maunsell, early Bullied sort of number, after they separated the letters from the numbers. So before that, Bluebell would have been A323. Much like how in the distance, way in the distance, as 473, she's B473, later 2473. 695 is E695, as I have her. Later she would have been 3695, because it denotes if it's an Ashford engine, if it's a Brighton engine, or if it's an Eastleigh engine. So SECR, London Brighton, or LSWR respectively. But hopefully I've been able to translate across my thoughts and my plan for here. So essentially I can have a little bit of shunting with my 3 platforms. We are now hand camming this. Just coming up, I have added a few more figures around this area, but nothing at all major really. Just so it looks a little bit more populated. And I can just have a bit of fun moving some wagons around. While also having a cup of tea, a couple of biscuits on standby as I watch trains run around the loops. If you're looking for a little engine for maybe a shunting layout or anything like that, the P classes and the B4s are brilliant. They're small, so they don't take a lot of room up in the head shunt, and they can move a decent number of wagons around. Don't expect them to pull what a 9F could potentially pull, but they could still shift a fair bit, especially the P class. P classes are really quite heavy for the size and quite powerful. But that's it for the Crowswood plan. And now we're going to go over to a different room so I can hopefully try and demonstrate what's happening with Taihouyama. Okay, so this is the layout or the board that will eventually become Taihouyama, which is a fictional, much like Crowswood, theme layout of a theming. Translation into English is Great Phoenix Mountain, and it's also a homage to my favourite ship, the Imperial Japanese Navy Armoured Aircraft Carrier Taiho, who was, when she was launched, the most powerful ship of her type in the Imperial Japanese fleet, if not the world. However, that is up for debate by others, not by me. But I've found a couple of options for me to start then putting the foam down onto here. At the moment it's just the wood, but due to the nature of the layout I want to build here, it's going to have ups where there's mountain, it's going to have down bits where there's water, because I want to have some sort of river or lake. But I'm not sure which of the two I'm going for. I've got to do a little bit more research. One of them looks like Celotex, and I could pick up in B&Q. However, not my B&Q, because my B&Q is apparently a small B&Q, despite being absolutely massive. So I've got to go out of town just to have a look at this material to then decide if it's worth ordering it. The other option is blue foam, or grey foam, or pink foam, peach foam, sort of like it's like an XPS type thing. It's the sort of thing which I used in university, which resulted in my hand getting, because it flew, it's really light and really strong in certain directions. So it managed to wedge this hand up into a machine on the extractor fan. So between two fingers, I'm not sure which it is now, I think I could only see this finger and my thumb. The rest of it was all concealed by the extractor fan housing. And I couldn't free myself even after hitting the emergency stop. I had to have a bit of assistance. So it's a strong material, it's a light material, but it's very easy to balls up. And so my hope is that I can, if it is the material, I know how to work with it. I'm not going to use any power tools on it. Pretty much just a wire cutter. And I'll go from there. Otherwise, but again, the price to get the foam I need, if it's the blue foam, the coverage for this board, which is 10 foot by 2 foot, it's about £200. Whereas it's less than £100 if I do it the B&Q insulation foam, which looks like Celotex, but I don't know if it is Celotex type stuff. it's less than £100 to get all the coverage and have enough for it to go up and down. So I really need to at some point hop on a bus out of town and have a look, and hopefully I'll be able to see what is what. I should probably also go over some of the stock I have in N, because it's been a while, and some of the plans I have. And so the engine which is running around, which I'm just running up and down a little bit, this is my Daypole N scale class 33. I did say I've got a lot of these things. I don't have a lot of British stock. In N, I have a grand total of 1 locomotive, 2 coaches, 1 open wagon of a coal load, and then a technically German but British livery track cleaning thing. And so pretty much this engine, the 33, its job is pretty much clean the track with the little track cleaning wagon. Well, let's go over the Japanese engines I have currently, and then some of the other buildings and rough idea of what is going to happen with this layout. It's going to be a little bit easier for me to free cam, so I am holding on to the tripod, so trying to have it as stable as possible. But this is a C11 number 174. One of the good things about the Japanese engines is, typically speaking, not always, as I'll get onto an exception, they're not numbered. They come with 4 options for numbers. So this is comes as a C11 with an empty slot then for me to put in the number plates. Empty slot on each water tank, on the front, on the smoke box, and at the back on the coal bunker. This is the engine which I did an older video on when I reviewed a train set, as it came in the train set. It is a lovely engine. They are my favourite Japanese locomotive, and so I'm wanting to get a whole lot more. I have fitted the front coupling on so I can run in both directions. The quality on these is really quite high, and they're not overly expensive considering they have to be imported. So move on to the first Japanese locomotive I got, which is a C57. This is number 33. It is my biggest and fastest loco in N, and it is just a thing of beauty. And again, this is one I numbered. It is an absolutely amazing little engine. Oh, sorry about that. The wheels are really interesting as well. They're almost like the bullied wheels, but not quite. Whereas, being an older engine, more traditional spoke type wheels on the C11. This is a little bit of cab detail even inside a tank engine. It is amazing. Do need a little bit of a dusting though. Come along. This is 58654, which is a preserved 8620, which was, when it entered service, this was the sort of main express locomotive in Japan. There were faster ones, but this was the most economical, and it could have a sustained 45-mile-an-hour speed, which was more than enough back in 1914. They were eventually, however, replaced passenger express by engines like the C57, the C56, C59, C62. the German style smoke deflectors and a bit more lining, which is a bit more intricate. And this was part of a train pack which came with quite beautiful coaches that have interior lighting and directional lighting and better pickup systems than the Hornby TT stuff, or from what I've seen of the Hornby TT stuff. Right, and then just gently, this is a parcels train, parcels and luggage coach. Set and it is a train pack, so it is meant to run as a formation, and it is a really nice, smooth, it's all really nice, smooth running stuff. It's less than the British as well, British N. And there's the brown coaches and the blue coaches. Here are the quite lovely directional lighting and interior lighting pack. I believe it's a Hitoyoshi is the name of the set of the 3 engines and the locomotive, and they run on Kyushu, which is one of the smaller islands. I think my geography is a bit rusty, but I think it's one of the smaller islands in Japan. Various different freight, so there's open wagon, less than £4 these cost, same as these. Granted there's the postage, but really nice prices. But so parcels luggage van, which does have lighting at the end when it's going backwards. Electric multiple unit, and then over here is just the British N. But the idea for the layout is something I'm going to get to now because it's almost finalised. But that's just a quick stock take. And so the idea is to have the mountain, the Great Phoenix Mountain coming up in this general area, not high enough to interfere with the window. And I think the storm's going to start kicking off in a minute. If it does, I will try and wrap up quite quickly, although this is a longer update because it's for both layouts. And then there'll be a body of water in the middle, which I kind of like the idea of it being a river, which then comes down. So I've marked a rough idea where a bridge could go, so there's a relation to the end of the board. There's the controller, it's currently blue tacked on the side. It will be probably velcroed in the end. It will come up, run all the way along there. And we're having second radius curves because tender engines don't like first radius. So I can't run anything really tight. Then come back down along the back. Split into 2, so I have a passing loop along somewhat of a bridge, which is a rarity in Japan, but there are 1 or 2 of them. Again, this is fictional. And then about here, there'll be a point which then comes and splits off. So I've got a few storage sidings for locomotives. This station will be on the front here with this station building. Tried to make it look a little bit old and a little bit more rural. These temple buildings are going to be up on the mountain and by the riverside. I'm not sure where the river's going to start, but I might have part of it come out here from sort of here, coming down towards here, and another starting here, coming down. But it's going to be single line operations. A lot of the rural railways in Japan are single line. It's quite wonderful little temple buildings. They are wonderful little things. Really easy to put together as well. And they come pre-painted. As did the cattle station building and platform. That came pre-painted, but I just changed the colours. Try and make it look a bit less plasticky, whereas these are made by Tomix or Tomitech. A mix of Kato and Tomitech people. So some general figures. I've got to stick around. Train crew, locomotive depot workers, railroad workers, some more people in kimonos, and some anglers, one of which, on the right, he's caught a fish. I want to put them in around the river. So you've got people fishing in the river and there's a train coming over. It's a really nice scene. From what I've seen, when you look at sort of the shots the Japanese railway enthusiasts, they film various locations. It's just absolutely beautiful country. It's going to be simple. All these points, these are the Pico streamlined medium radius points. Stock fish plates on them because I was experimenting with how they might go together. Code 80 I think, so that it's easier for me to deal with. Quite hard to get left hand ones at the moment. Right ones a bit easier. They're in Salt Frog because they're easier to isolate parts of the railway. So I can have engines stored in a siding or a passing loop. It is a really gentle curve, and it's whilst also not being really long. And I have tested these two engines, and these two will run on it, so anything bigger like a D51, which is a 282 heavy goods engine, that will run on it as well. And the storm's coming down. Hopefully it's not too loud, there's no thunder yet. That's a plus. I'll water the strawberries and the raspberries out there. I think that's about it anyway, and for now. The foam I'm looking at is 2 inches high. And it comes in 4 foot by 2 foot panels, both sets, both the Ceratexy stuff and the blue foam, which I think is grey. Both sets come in 2 foot by 4 foot by 2 inch high. It's just a matter of trying to go for, because the Ceratexy is going to be strong enough, because it's not like I'm putting an O gauge engine on. My O gauge 33, which was over 2.5 kilos in weight. So it's going to have small, lightweight engines, and I can carve at it with a sort of wire tool, window open and the mask on, door closed so none of the foam, none of the fumes get to the animals. Oh, blimey, that's coming down now. Okay. I'm going to have to wrap up because it wouldn't surprise me if it started thundering. Oh, joy. Plus, I've been going on for long enough, and I've probably taken up enough of your time just with my ramblings and my plans. But the track plan is set. I can, if anyone is interested, show my track plan for this layout. And then from there, because yeah, there's rain now going in more than one direction, I'm going to sign off before it starts thundering, and start putting this together and then taking it up onto the channel. Hopefully it doesn't take several hours to render or upload, because it tends to at the moment. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with my slightly brained from last week. I'm still slightly brained. Ramblings. And I will see you in the next one, which will hopefully be later this month. I hope I can get another video out this month, sort of with a bit more progress on things. Alright, stay safe, and if it's raining where you are, especially this heavily, stay dry.